Oh well, no makeup. This is just so that I share and so that I don't forget in the future when I'm whining about how hard life is, that I can come back to this moment and think about what truly is to be going through something hard. Where do I start? Let's start in December. Evan's birthday, 12/12/17, in quarantine. The day after Matt visited his aunt. His aunt went into the hospital again. Dee Dee, not feeling well. She has some bowel obstruction, issues. Matt goes spend some time with her. Following week, in his new job at Hologic, is working on site at a couple of hospitals. One of those vectors, something, happened. And that Saturday, on the Friday after Ariana's ring mass, where for 8th grade, beautiful ceremony, trying to be socially distant. The next day, Ariana wanted to go to the mall with her friends, and we've been trying to get her out, so hey, great, socially distant. Matt says nothing, and he volunteers, he'll go with her. Comes back from the mall on Saturday, that 19th, and doesn't feel well. Oh no, okay, go to bed. I cancel all appointment, the gym, everything, so that we could be cautious. Reach out to Mighty Mouse, thank goodness. She's the former general manager from CKO. She's now working at a Medi-Center in Somerset, and Somerset, and she volunteers immediately, like, you can come anytime Monday 9 to 9, or you can come tomorrow. So we go Monday morning bright and early because Matt didn't feel well. I was fine, not a symptoms, nothing. We go Monday morning, we get a rapid test, negative. Oh, poof, great. I'm feeling relieved. Thank goodness. Matt is always the more cautious one of the two of us, always. Me, I was like, I'm good. When, I was going about my day, even exercising, nothing for me, no symptoms. Matt wasn't feeling well, he's in bed. So out of an abundance of caution, by Monday night, after talking to Matt, decide, what, he's right. We're going to wait for these PCR results first to even be near the kids. Because he's like, you really shouldn't be near them. We don't know. And I said, you know what? I deferred to him. Besides, I was starting to get a little worried about him. He was starting to not sound as good. So moved everything into the basement. So moved into the basement, small basement, 2 different rooms, 2 twin beds. So at least I could monitor Matt and keep the kids. Comes that Tuesday, Matt gets a call. I go into the portal. We're positive. PCR comes back positive. It's the 20th now. 19, 20, 21st, 22nd. Yeah, the Tuesday before Christmas Eve. Okay, we're in the basement. Well, kids, no, if you come out of your room, you can wear masks. And anybody who goes anywhere in a common area in the house, with a mask, limited time, airing between times of overlap. And hey, kids, no food prep. I'm not preparing food for you, because even though I'm asymptomatic. So kids, Ariana has been training for this moment her entire life. Way too happy about it. Because she didn't have to now even, come out of her room. So happy. It's all giddy up, right? Evan, more concerned. Poor thing. So worried about everyone. Such a good boy. Both of them are. Ariana's, she's 13. And so in her room, happy. Christmas Eve, Matt's blood oxygen levels start plummeting. Freaks me out at one point. 84. And I'm like texting with Sally Davis, my high school biology teacher, who's now a PA in LA of no... and she's telling me, what did your doctor say? And our doctor said under 93, go to the hospital. So it stayed, then it got up to 93. So of course now I'm checking every hour, setting an alarm. Is like going back to the kids being babies again, just checking on checking on him, checking his pulse ox, checking his temperature. 103. Scary Christmas Day. And then we were in the basement until New Year's Eve, where we went for another test, another PCR test, and the doctor looked us both over and released us from quarantine, from being in the basement, based on the 11 days that had transpired, CDC, 10 days, blah, 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 blah. Matt didn't feel well, still. New Year's Day, I get a call. Bill Ramdis, dear friend, worked with me at Empire Today. The yin to my yang professionally in so many different ways. We complemented one another, fought and worked so well together. We opened 18 stores in 7 states in 6 months and had NPS scores, which are Net Promoter Scores, that were higher for the Empire Today stores than JCPenney, which we were in, and higher NPS scores than Empire Today. Of course, Bill would love to take credit for the whole thing. He did on Facebook. He knows it. And I was like, we did it together. Died of a heart attack. 48. But in his ultimate Billness, would not allow himself to be upstaged. We left Empire in short order of one another. I left first after HEG bought the company and sold, closed the retail division. And so I went to work for Ripple, where I still am today. And Bill's wake is tonight. The webcast is at exactly the same time as my friend Keith Weinberger, the CEO, gives his closing remarks for the Empire Today conference. So Bill, to not be upstaged. I will miss you, friend. So that was the first. Happy New Year, 2021. Matt continued to not, feel well. Gosh, it feels like an eternity, like all the stuff that's happened, since then. Then Matt's mother goes into the hospital because of COVID. Then she's in the hospital, put on remdesivir, and does not respond to it. So they give her second medication. With this, Kelly, who has multiple sclerosis, has been not feeling well, but she tested first negative. So we were like, okay, thank God you're just sick. Just stay in bed, stay away from everyone. Because on Dee Dee, when she went to the hospital, when Matt went to see her, somewhere from there, she got COVID too. So Kay, Matt's dad, and Mom got it from Dee Dee going back and forth upstairs. So Dee Dee's been in and out of the hospital this whole time. Mom goes into the hospital on Tuesday of this week. Today is only Friday. I really cannot believe that. I think it's like the 8th or the 9th. I don't know. The 8th. Mom goes into the hospital. Dad on Tuesday chills, dehydrated, diarrhea. Kelly can't go see him. Dee Dee is obviously bedridden downstairs. So Matt, who doesn't feel well, goes over there on Tuesday because he's supposedly better. Finds Dad incapacitated. His bowels, no control. Matt cleans everything, cleans up Dad, gets him to the hospital where he's admitted immediately. So Matt drives home, and as he comes in, his knees buckle. He's just so tired, but I figured he's tired, and I'm thinking of my sister, of when she had COVID last year, because my dad had COVID he was in the hospital for Easter of 2020, and my sister was also then sick. So I'm remembering from them, tight chest, tightness, so that that's why they can't, so that it's not just that Matt's sick, okay? but of course monitoring him and still giving him daily emergency with zinc, with his daily multivitamin, with the vitamin D, trying to keep him like as healthy as possible, as best as you can, and fluid, water. So he comes home, he gets up on Wednesday, and he's tired, but he's got to go see mom and dad in the hospital because somebody's, I don't know how he was getting himself allowed into the hospital. At least he was when dad got admitted. So he gets there Wednesday in the car, parks, took my car because it's easier to park smaller car. No, he took my car on the first day. On the second day, figures he's taking his own car, his truck. He's going to park at the post. Gets there. He has no energy when he gets out of the car. None. Tired. Just. Thank God that he's so cautious. He has the presence of mind to call his doctor. And the doctor says, I don't like how you sound. So the doctor says, I'm going to send you a script so you get a chest CT. I think you have pneumonia. So Matt calls me. I said, just email me the script, and get over here. Let's go get you a chest, because he's not telling me at this point how he feels. I'm like, okay. Meanwhile, I'm trying to do some work stuff because I've just been trying to work, where I can't help myself. So I'm trying to negotiate an offer because I'm trying to get someone to start because I have no staff. I have 2 openings. I'm the only person running grocery nationally for Ripple, and it's just for grocery, kind of crazy. So Matt calls me, tells me he's coming home. He's not feeling good. I'm like, babe, so then pull over. Tell me where you're at. I'll call you back. But what am I going to do? So I continue on my conference call with the VP, with the HR director, and I tell her, I said, open disclosure, that I'm just going to have to jump off the phone with my husband. She's like, well, you're just so calm. Am I? It just feels like it's so surreal that, well, what are you going to do? Start just freaking out just because? Doesn't accomplish anything. So, waiting to hear from Matt. By the time he calls me back, he goes, I'm behind you. He's lucky I love him. So I'm like, okay, no point getting upset. Get in the car. Let's go. He wants to go to University Radiology, like a radiology place to go get and I'm like, I didn't want to argue with him. I don't want to argue with him when he's special needs sick or ever for that matter. But I figured why not just go to the hospital to get it done, because I didn't think that they would want to, but he's got his copy of his COVID negative test. I'm like, okay, I have mine on the phone if we need that. But the minute he said that he had COVID, the woman just did not want to let him in. She's like, you should just go to the hospital. I said, let's go to the hospital. We went to Robert Wood Johnson. Well, thank goodness we went to Robert Wood Johnson because they admitted him immediately. Pneumonia. Ground glass syndrome, as they call it, when it just looks like ground glass. They actually thought micro blood clots in his lungs. He actually emailed me his final wishes and wrote me a long goodbye. So I left him in the hospital and came home. Only to find out from my brother at 1:30. I call in Nelson because I'm hearing about the Capitol building. And Nelson is a sergeant in the Capitol Police. And he's like, sis, I can't talk. This is crazy. And the next thing I know, my brother is maced, trampled, and back to work for the next untold amount of hours while my husband's in the hospital, while my in-laws are in the hospital, and while we then find out that Kelly actually has COVID, my sister-in-law who has multiple sclerosis. Fast forward to yesterday, they let Matt out of the hospital because, it's treat him and street him, get them all out. So they released everyone yesterday, including my mother-in-law with oxygen after 7 days in the hospital. But of course, now it's Friday, and they released her late last night. Matt was afternoon, and now they won't send an aide. They won't send anyone because they say that COVID, you know, they were still diagnosed with COVID. So we have an 82-year-old who cannot stand on her own with oxygen, with an 83-year-old, you know, husband who has COVID, chills, because he came home from the hospital with chills, shaking in car service because nobody could go pick him up in car service, shaking on the couch, you know, in his house. So then this morning, Kelly just called and asked for help. So now I brought Matt over here. And I'm just sitting in my car recording this. Because I don't want to forget this. I don't want to forget. I'm very blessed. But man, to quote John Lovett from Love It or Leave It, what a week. Ding! What a week, what a month. So I need to go find parking now and figure out, put on a happy face and figure out all of this and go cry at 6. At least I get to cry at 6 o'clock. My friend Bill's virtual wake. I'm sure it'll be really cathartic, but I'm gonna miss him. So that's today. That's me, Jackie Donovan. Jackie Vargas Donovan. Oh my gosh, and then my dad's family started on the group chat that Nelson was in the hospital. Because of course, if I'm not connected, straightening everyone's stories out. Oh. Peace out.